So, in my attempt to make, not an attempt, actually, I'm going to be making a game engine with Godot. It's for mobile phones. I'm not worried about people stealing my idea because my engine does not directly compete against Godot, and there's a lot I'm going to be adding to it for mobile phones, and it's going to be an extension basically of Godot. But, nevertheless, this is why I wanted to do this, because I know that in doing I would learn more, and something I just learned is we've been doing DLCs the hard way. We've been doing DLCs the hard way. And so let me express to you how you can press play, add a folder, and then have a world in your game in game. So if you're a game developer and you have Godot, and yes, I've worked with Unity and I've worked with Unreal too, but if you're game developing, you had Godot and you're like, well, what if I wanted to add a world to my DLC content? And you could have your world set up in a way, whatever. So each one references a world, and this one takes you to world 1, but then I have it take you back because, again, this is going to be a game engine. But forget that. You can add DLCs to your current game without opening Godot. I mean, of course, you still have to copy the TSCN file, and you just have to throw the TSCN file in the engine. Everything that the TSCN file references, though, will have to have its folders, because it's going to ask these questions: what materials, what textures, etc., blah, blah, blah. What is this? What is that? What is this? That's what it's going to do. But if you have all that set up, like you have a folder for your materials, and it's called materials, and you have a folder for your FBX files, it's called FBXs. Then all you have to do is add your FBX files. It recalls them. It recalls the materials, and it's going to add to your game. So all you have to do is add the TSCN file. If you already have your folders right, you already have all the materials you wanted to use, this TSCN file will work properly without you having to open up the engine. And all you have to do is type in my_world, which is the name of the deal. And then there it is. There's your world. There is your whole extra DLC content you've added in game. All you have to do is find a way to make a developer button, which I'm going to do later. I'm going to show you a tutorial on how to do that. Where you have your own password, and you can then add the file in game without actually opening Godot. So let's say you have a repository somewhere, you can just add the fucking file and add the price of the file, or when the file downloads, it goes to that folder, the import folder. So that's really cool without, re-downloading Arc or something like that, or re-downloading something else. The whole fucking thing. No re-downloading, just add a world, no recoding. Just add a world. That is a huge advantage that should be used. And basically you can have a copy where all you'd have to do is have everything set up before, if you know you're going to have DLCs. And that is what you're going to have. You're going to have preparedness for your DLCs built in game in order to make downloading DLCs easier, because I can tell you some worlds are only 62 megabytes. I can tell you some worlds can be vast and huge and big in Godot, and they'll only ever be 100 megabytes. And the reason why is because all your pre-built shit can be from what you developed previously. Like you have grass. You don't have to refolder the grass. You can just grab the TSCN file, goes back, calls the grass. You don't have to refolder much of anything if you're reusing certain FBXs. If you're using trees, if you're using buildings, certain type of buildings, certain walls, if you're using the same content in your next world, and you're going to have extra content, obviously you're going to have extra content. That extra content goes in the folder that it's going to request. That's all that's going to do. That's all she's going to write. And so you'll have a situation where the player might reach the end of the open world, or the player might want to go to the next level, or there's an extra button called Coming Soon. And that extra button opens up a TSCN file that has extra buttons of Coming Soon. But the top one is the Neo DLC content, and that DLC content is the one they paid for, and they can play off of that. And so that is actually really important. Forward thinking, forward ahead. Alright. And so I didn't even think about DLC content until it occurred to me how I could have 200 worlds to pick from in a mini mobile game engine that's going to basically be an extension of Godot. So that's why I do these projects. These projects that might never go anywhere make me learn so much. So there you go. Oh, also the code to script. Obviously you're going to want that. So the code to script worlds that you've already made. So you're going to want to, if you want to do this, where you're just adding worlds that you're going to have in a level, and it's going to be like get the reference world, blah blah blah, and you might want to do pictures instead of this color shit. That code is really simple, because what I'm doing is I'm utilizing the touchscreen button. Touchscreen button's talking to itself, and touchscreen button goes and get I have the text already. So basically I go environment world, I get the text somewhere. And then I delete that part of the text. And then I have a sequence that determines the number and the children of that text. That sequence is going to determine itself as a number. That's one of these labels. That's world, right here, it's 0, and it's going to be called world 1. And so it's going to grab that, because you can add streams together, and I'm adding the 1. And then at the end of that text, I'm going to add the TSCN file. And then once I do that, I set the text to that. I set the label to that text. In that process, I'm also eliminating this. So each new world eliminates the text. And so I do this, I get it, and then if the world is there, I go to that world. If the world's not there, it doesn't crash. I don't get an error. So that's how that's working. For the imported world, that's going to be Node 2D2. It's going to be over here. And all I did was I made a couple of variables, set 1, set 2, set 3. That is the beginning of the text from my world TSCN. So like if I go over, Control Z. If I go over here and I pull this right there, I can see what I have to add. So I'm going to add my slash before I want to add my text. My text is going to be in my text edit, which is going to be added. So my text edit is just going to be a set2 string, and then I'm going to have the set3 be the TSCN. And in doing that, I go down here, I have a copy, paste it above because it's not going to give me any errors, and I do get resource equals set plus set2 plus set3, where set2 equals this text edit, and then I add all those together to get the text, which gets me to the world. That's why I use labels, because they save data.